Hello and welcome to Take 6. I'm streaming executive producer Thomas Mates, filling in for Julie Broughton. I apologize for the lack of music there, a little bit of a technical difficulty. Anyways, we are looking at a very busy day today. The big story, of course, is the return of Butch Wilmore and Sunny Williams from the International Space Station, where they have been for the last 9 months after the Starliner launch. Had some issues, and their planned mission of just a couple days ended up into a multi-month mission. We'll also be looking at the President Trump. He is having a meeting today, or a phone call rather, with President Vladimir Putin of Russia, talking about a potential for a ceasefire in the ongoing war between Ukraine and Russia. That'll be coming up in just a few minutes. And also we'll be taking a look at your car. Every device you own just about collects data on you nowadays, including your car. And we'll be taking a look at a Consumer Reports report that talks about how you can protect your data from your car. That'll all be coming up in just a few minutes. As I said, though, we are first taking a look at the return of Butch Wilmore and Sunny Williams, along with the Crew 9 mission from the International Space Station. They undocked last night from the International Space Station and are now on their way back to Earth, set to splash down off the coast of Florida later this evening. CBS News has more.
All hooks open.
All hooks are open. And undocking confirmed.
Overnight, the moment two stranded American astronauts finally began their long-delayed journey home. The SpaceX Dragon 9 capsule undocked from the International Space Station at 1:05 a.m. Eastern. Among the four-person crew, Sunny Williams and Butch Wilmore. The pair embarked on a planned 8-day research mission last June, but propulsion issues forced them to stay in orbit for more than 9 months. The other two crew members on board, a Russian cosmonaut and another NASA astronaut.
Ignition and liftoff.
Williams and Wilmore's replacement crew, led by Commander Ann McClain, launched Friday from the Kennedy Space Center. On Sunday, the veteran astronauts welcomed them aboard.
It was a wonderful day. Great to see our friends arrive.
You can hardly even put it into words. The ride up on the Falcon 9, orbiting the Earth for the last couple of days, it's been absolutely incredible.
Ken Bowersox, a former astronaut himself, now leads space operations for NASA.
It's always a little bittersweet, right? You miss your family, but you love being on space station. I'm looking forward to sitting across from them and hearing about their perception of how things went and all about their time on orbit.
And it will be a story unlike any other.
And splashdown is scheduled to happen just off the Florida coast tonight around 6 p.m. Eastern. I'm Derek Waller, CBS News.
Of course, the coverage of that starts at 4:45. We will have the full NASA coverage of the return of Butch Wilmore and Sunny Williams, along with the Crew 9 mission. That'll be coming up starting at 4:45 on clickorlando.com and on News 6 Plus. You'll be able to find those streams on our YouTube channel as well. And of course, we will bring you the splashdown live when it happens on air on News 6. In addition to the splashdown this evening, there is also set to be a Starlink launch mission coming up at about 3:57. We'll also have that live for you on clickorlando.com on the News 6 YouTube channel, and of course you'll be able to find the stream as well on News 6 Plus. So a big day for space here in Central Florida. We'll be keeping tabs on all of it, and of course News 6 Brevard County reporter James Sparrow is following the splashdown. He'll have live reports starting on News 6 at 4. Turning more locally here in Central Florida, Altamont Springs police are on the lookout for a man they say has attacked at least 3 women in the city over the past several days. A sketch has been released along with surveillance video of one of the attacks. News 6 reporter Stephanie Rodriguez has more.
There are several victims with similar stories. Now, we spoke to one woman who was here in the parking lot of Cancun Fiesta when she says a man tried to grab her from behind.
Walk to my car and feeling a person very, very close to me and stop next to the door of my car.
Speaking to us in Spanish, Valerie Pacheco is thankful to be okay after the man seen in this surveillance video attacked her in a parking lot while she was picking up an Uber Eats order.
I see a man behind me, a little taller than me, and I was scared. I asked, "What do you need?" When I spoke to him, he tried to grab my legs. I walked back and started screaming and jumped.
And Pacheco isn't the only person to have encountered this man. The Altamont Springs Police Department released both surveillance video and a sketch of the man they say assaulted 3 women in 3 separate incidents. According to investigators, all 3 incidents took place near State Road 436 and Weimar Road between the hours of 9 p.m. and 3 p.m. In one, police say he wore a black mask covering his entire face except his eyes. Detectives say the women were alone and the suspect assaulted them after dark, leaving women who live in this area, like Samantha Bisbee, frightened.
It's kind of scary, I'm not going to lie, so I'm trying to hurry up and get to the store before, it gets dark, because that's when I get scared.
I have been in contact with Altamont police today. They tell me they continue to urge everyone to look at that sketch and see if they recognize the person, and if they do, to give them a call. Reporting in Altamont Springs, Stephanie Rodriguez, getting results 6.
A scary situation in that community, to be sure. President Trump is set to have a phone call today with Russian President Vladimir Putin to discuss the potential of a ceasefire for the ongoing war in Ukraine, between Ukraine and Russia, following the Russian invasion several years ago at this point. The 2 world leaders are expected to speak about what should be on the table for a ceasefire to come to fruition. However, Ukraine's president, Volodymyr Zelensky, will not be a part of the conversation, and it remains to be seen what will come of a potential ceasefire. CBS News' Natalie Brand has more on the phone call expected today.
Ahead of the high-stakes call, President Trump expressed optimism over negotiations to end Russia's war on Ukraine.
We're trying to get a peace agreement done. We want to get a ceasefire and then a peace agreement.
President Trump said Ukraine's land and power plants will likely be part of the discussions with Russian President Vladimir Putin. Russian forces are occupying around 20% of Ukraine and seized the Zaporizhzhia power plant in 2022, Europe's largest nuclear site, which has been caught in the crossfire. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky visited a military cemetery in Lviv Tuesday to pay his respects to soldiers killed during Russia's invasion. Ukraine is skeptical that Putin is ready for peace, but hopeful for a breakthrough after 3 years of fighting.
Of course, there's no trust, but politics is politics. Every war comes with negotiations, so if we need to sit at the table, so that's what we should do.
Here in Washington, a legal battle is escalating over deportation flights and the use of a 1798 wartime law allowing the president to detain and deport non-citizens. A federal judge is demanding answers today about whether the administration violated his order over the weekend by sending planes with more than 200 migrants to El Salvador, many alleged gang members. A Justice Department attorney argued that they were not bound by the order since it wasn't in writing. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
Now, President Trump has called on that judge who issued that order to be impeached, which in turn resulted in a rare rebuke from Chief Justice John Roberts of the Supreme Court. He said that the call by the president for the impeachment was not appropriate just because the judge disagreed with him. You can read more about that right now on clickorlando.com. We are now looking at a new program at Valencia College that is helping people with cognitive disabilities to find employment in the restaurant industry. News 6's Julie Broughton has more on that story.
Okay, so I need everybody around here, but just know that this is hot. Who got pancakes? Who got pancakes?
They say breakfast is the most important meal of the day.
And mix, mix, mix with the milk.
And for the students here at the Valencia College School of Culinary Arts, it's also a sign of opportunity.
Because of their practicing, they're much further ahead than they used to be.
Tonight is the final class for this pilot program that started more than a year ago.
They can take their skills that they already know and then just utilize them without us having to really kind of, we take our hands off of it.
The students are from the nonprofit Home of Bright Choices.
Any questions?
They all have cognitive disabilities and a love for the kitchen.
Within 18 months, they started and now they're kind of at the end of this one course, what we're calling basic culinary skills.
The idea is that with the right training, they'll be able to pursue a job in food service. It's a goal for many.
After the zucchini, we'll throw the tomatoes down.
Looking on proudly from the back of the room is Arlene Rodenbeck. She's the founder of Home of Bright Choices.
I'm very proud of all of them. They've come a long way, and shown that provided the opportunity, those with cognitive disabilities can achieve many things and be successful and be contributing members to their communities.
So again, all the way around.
Chef Ken Burgoyne has been with them since the beginning, patiently walking them through the recipes for success.
So I'll say this, like I didn't know where they were at as far as their abilities and their skills. I mean, the first class we did 7-layer dip and we barely cooked.
Since then, the growth has been tremendous. Karina Rodriguez wasn't sure what to expect, but her daughter Samantha overcame her fears and is now conquering the kitchen.
For her, it's a big accomplishment. As she becomes an adult, that's going to help her with her independent skills.
I'm going to call your name and then you come up and receive your certificate.
As these students move on to their next challenge,
So, Shannon.
they're learning the most important meal of the day
Congratulations.
is the one you make yourself. Julie Broughton, Getting Results, News 6.
That is a great program, and you can find out more information about that program right now on clickorlando.com. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in about 2 minutes, and on the other side of the break, we're going to take a look at protecting your personal data from your car. It is collecting data on you right now, and you need to know how to make sure that it's not giving it out to someone who you don't want to have that information. That'll be coming up in just about 2 minutes.
Travis here in Ocoee, I'm going to guess.
Yes, correct.
We are in the right place. I'm Eric Von Anken, the handy newsman. That's Destiny, as always. You got a mirror you want us to get up on the wall.
Yeah, right upstairs. Just a bathroom mirror to hang. Yeah, come on in.
Aha!
Here's the mirror.
I see the mirror, I see the wall, and these are the brackets.
Right, yep. So got the brackets, the screws, the wall anchors.
Fantastic. And what I really like about this, Travis, is there's no electrical. There's no light in the mirror, so we don't have to wire anything in. We're just going to sit it on top of your counter and then put the brackets up.
Sounds good.
So my plan here is to put the brackets just at the right height, so when the mirror is sitting on top of the brackets, the bottom is sitting on the backsplash. So this is holding up the weight of the mirror, not the brackets. Step one, find the studs. Step two now is to measure. Travis, let's move this out just a little bit. So the bracket sits right at the top edge of the mirror. So the trick is to measure from the middle of these holes all the way down to the very bottom. From bottom to this hole is 37 1/4 inches. Okay, so 37.25 plus how big are this brackets? But actually, and then. Wait a second. I don't need math for this. So now I'm going to mark 37.25 inside the marks I made to show me where the studs are behind the wall. Step 4 is to screw in the screw. Good. Let's do the other one now. Let's try and get it up there. Now we're going to push it up against the wall and get it high enough so it catches. All right, now slowly let's let it down. It should catch at the same time it hits that backsplash. That's on the brackets.
Yeah, looks sturdy to me. It looks really good.
It's not coming down, right?
No, it looks solid.
We got results at home, Travis?
We got results.
Another great getting results at home from News 6 anchor Eric Von Aken. I always learn a little bit something from his pieces. Certainly helps me around the house. I have a bevy of home projects I need to get to, so hopefully hopefully I can get those done sooner rather than later. Well, I hope that is correct because that package is starting in black, but we shall see in just a second. Every device you own just about collects some data on you and can get shared to businesses all over. This includes your car. News 6 Insider Guide, Crystal Moyer went to Consumer Reports to see how you can protect your data from your vehicle.
If you bought a car in the last 5 years, you might be sharing more than just the road. I'm News 6 anchor and Insider Guide Crystal Moyer, and a new Consumer Reports investigation reveals how automakers could be tracking and selling your driving data without you even knowing.
Nearly every major automaker in the U.S. is collecting so-called driver behavior data, everything from how hard you brake to how fast you accelerate.
We poured through thousands of pages of privacy policies, and we questioned 15 different automakers that sell vehicles here in the United States.
Consumer Reports investigative reporter Derek Kravitz says that BMW, Ford, Toyota, Honda, and others gather this information often without drivers fully understanding what they've agreed to.
Most drivers simply click agree when they're setting up their car's infotainment system, and they unknowingly give permission for their data to be collected and then shared.
Many automakers say they get your consent before sharing data and only pass it to trusted partners. But when Consumer Reports asked them to name these companies, nearly all refused to say who.
We found that your driving data often ends up with insurance companies and lenders who can use it to determine premiums and loan terms. This creates what experts call a driver score, and that's pretty similar to a credit score.
There is a way to take control of your data, though. Most automakers allow consumers to submit requests to limit data sharing or delete their information completely.
You could find more information on how to stop the data sharing on clickorlando.com. Keep in mind, though, opting out could mean losing access to features like roadside assistance and crash detection. In the studio, Crystal Moyer, Getting Results, News 6.
As Crystal said, you can find that right now on clickorlando.com/insider, but you do have to be a News 6 insider to see that story. It is completely free to sign up, and in addition to that, you get access to a ton of great content that's exclusive to our insiders. Again, that's clickorlando.com/insiders. All right, before I let you go, we do want to get a check on the weather. News 6 meteorologist David Nazario was filling in today for Chief Meteorologist Candace Campos, and he has more on your forecast on this gorgeous day here in Central Florida.
Good morning, Central Florida, and happy Tuesday. This is News 6 meteorologist David Nazario with your latest weather update. Let's get you over to some of the weather headlines we have in store for you. You can see the next big thing, we don't really have anything on the board right now. We're actually looking at a pretty solid week for the next 5 to 7 days. For the day today, it is still a bit chilly once you step outside the door this morning. A bit of a breeze out there as well. Could make it feel a little bit colder than what it is. We're sitting in about the low 50s right about now. We are going to bounce back very soon. If you look at Tuesday and Wednesdays, the temps are going to rebound as the next front does come in. And then Thursday, Friday, our next cold front is expected to arrive late in the day on Thursday, maybe the early overnight hours of Friday. But the low rain chance does exist, as well as the temps are going to drop for your Friday morning. Let's get you outside right now. I have it zoomed out just a little bit because, yes, that is what you think it is. We're going to talk about that here in a second, but this is your water vapor satellite as of this morning. We have this deep trough extending off the eastern coastline. That was what produced our severe weather activity from last Friday all the way through to Sunday, very early Monday morning across central Florida. And then we're going to be tracking that next upcoming system that's currently moving through the Rockies right now that could potentially influence our weather on Thursday. Here's a look at the next system. This is for Thursday. As you can see on Wednesday, temperatures are going to be fairly mild. We're going to be sitting in the low to mid 80s across central Florida. Up along the coast, it'll be a little bit more mild as well. And then as this system rockets through, it will carry some rainfall with it. We can't rule out a stray shower or two during the Thursday evening hours into very early Friday morning, but I do think we're going to lose a lot of the moisture with it as it comes through the panhandle and down into the Florida peninsula. And then by Friday, another spectacular Friday, spectacular week ahead. Taking you through the upper level pattern real quick, we're tracking a couple systems. This is that first trough that I showed you on the water vapor satellite as it digs south through Thursday. We're going to see a little bit of an increase in our cloud cover. It'll draw in some more of that warm, moist air. And as a result, that's why Thursday will be particularly warm before we cool down again on Friday. And then down the road into next week, where I do think our rain chances do pick back up and we see a return to those thunderstorm chances, is going to be this next system that rapidly accelerates through the pattern, through the upper tier United States, dragging its influence down into southeast U.S. and into us here in central Florida. Now, I didn't think I'd be talking this early in the year, but this is the latest from National Hurricane Center. We have an area of non-tropical low pressure. I want to emphasize that, with a very low-end chance that we get any kind of development out of it over the next 48 hours, as well as down the road over the next 7 days. This is the tail end of a leftover cold front out there, and I do think this could be a sign of what we may have in store for us as we get closer to the bona fide hurricane season. Check us out over on clickorlando.com. We'll be writing an article discussing my thoughts and how this could attribute to the hurricane season down the road, but it's not going to play any role in our weather here in central Florida as it gets wrapped up in that frontal system that's coming off the coast right now. Here are your forecast lows for tonight. Another little bit of a chilly start for us tomorrow morning, but then you can see as we get into the middle of your Wednesday, 80s make a return across the board. Now, here's your extended forecast over the next 3 days. Pretty spectacular weather, to tell you the truth. And then if I fast forward, we do have two fronts we're tracking over the next several days. Thursday into Friday, very low-end rain chance. Maybe bump it up to about a 20% on Thursday. We're still investigating that ever so slightly. And then into Monday next week, you can see with that next frontal system, we do have a decent shot, at least a 30% chance of rainfall on the board.
As David said, it is far too early for us to be thinking about anything tropical, but the Pinpoint Weather Team will be keeping tabs on that and let you know what that means, if anything, for us here in Central Florida. We will have more coming up on News 6 at 4, weather and headlines, and that'll do it for us here on Take 6. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for watching. You can always find the latest on clickorlando.com. Thank you, and have a pleasant day.